What's up, y'all? I wanted to see if I could explain or try to convey in less than 5 minutes a vision or a message that I just received and saw clearly in my mind. And what it was something it was saying, prepare yourself um, for global. And then I try to figure out what the next word would be. And there's so many different words that have been floating through my head or have been coming up, like upheaval or intensity. So I tried to see what it was, because it was something very clear. I could see it. Prepare yourself for global, and it was letters of light, global. And so I thought, is it turmoil? No, that just feels like, shoo. Prepare yourself for global turmoil? No. For catastrophe? No. And you could see all these different words with negative connotations. They literally drop off when I try to see what the message was. They literally drop off into something that is not the organicness of what the nature of the message is. They trail off into something that is not actually holding on the foundation. And so looking for what the word after global was, there was no word that could fit there. It was actually just pure space of white light, but I could feel there's this feeling of something big coming that's not going to stop for a while, ever really. But it's going to be a time of really intensity, of upheaval, if you want to give it that word, but not in a negative sense. And the message being in seeing it in this way, that any negative attribute or way that we want to define it is actually not accurate. It's actually taking us away from being fully present with what it is, because what it is, the place where we are going when we truly access it without trying to define it a certain way, is a place that we cannot define because we've never been there before. And this is true for every single moment. We cannot define any moment because we've never been there before. Although as a society we've become addicted to trying to put boxes around our experience, to try to give words to our experiences, to try to define our experiences, because our ego is actually built on the sense of false security that we get from thinking we can control, thinking we can capture the world outside of us, because we're actually afraid of life as it is. So we try to dominate it on an intellectual level through giving everything definitions. We try to know what it is, which leaves us actually away from the present, which is on a greater scale what has happened to us as a species, as a Western civilization in regards to life. We don't actually experience life as it is because we have so many preconceptions about what it is that we have been conditioned into us, that we have conditioned into ourselves, and that has been conditioned into us by our hyper-intellectualized, imbalanced culture, which actually the very thing that makes it so imbalanced is the fact that there is not enough space, there's not enough silence, there's not enough just being and witnessing life for what it is, because we are relying so heavily on our mind. We have become addicted to it out of fear of the unknown. Now we are entering a place where nature, the unknown, the mystery of life itself, is forcing us to be with the unknown. It's forcing us to be with ourselves, somewhere that we can't define with words or with, and it's bringing up all of our fears. And I'm not specifying this to the coronavirus or to any one specific case, because this could be applied to anything, because it's just a nature of life. Continuously things arise and bubble in our lives which we don't know how to cope with, which bring up all of our root fears. But basically the teaching, the lesson, the message is that this place we're coming into is pure potential. It is a 0 point, it's undefinable, it's pure presence, it's pure light, and it's a certain vibration of pure light. And there is this opportunity now to be in that pure light, in that pure space, in the pure not knowing, in the mystery of it, and to welcome all that, a completely new way of doing things from that 0 point, which is where we're being prepared for. And it's going to be very challenging for a lot of us that are addicted to certain ways of viewing things, and certain ways of attachments to patterns of life, and to jobs, and to certain material or external identifications that define us, to give us a sense of self, a sense of security. It's going to be difficult, but actually there's a gift here, because in the undefinable, in pure being, which is always here, but now there's going to be a time of completely blank slate and not knowing, not having the reference points, because all these past ways of functioning from a place of worry, from a place of scarcity, from a place of lack, from a place of seeing things as being potentially against us, such as the charge of the words cataclysm and all these things, we think they're against us. So and this is how we go on fearing change, fearing big transformations, and fearing shifts. That's why we hang on so tightly to what we know. That's why we try to define, we try to oppress what is foreign to us. This is the whole consciousness of violence, of war, of colonialism, the whole root of perception of separation, which actually comes from fear. So any sense of desiring to overpower life comes from fear. So now we are entering a place where we are coming face to face with all of our fears underlying us, or our fears of life, and our actually inability to fully think our way out of this mess. And we're being forced to just be with where we are, which will cause a lot of upheaval and a lot of change and a lot of panic in a lot of society. So the main thing, the best thing you could do for this time is to allow it to be what it is, to meditate. Not the idea of meditation, not a certain thing. It's not something to think about. It's meditation is just a word for going into the space beneath thoughts, consciousness itself, the place that is consistent, that the universe is made of, that we always have access to, which can be thought of as like the sky, and thoughts are like clouds passing through. So this is a time where, as a society, we are being gifted with an opportunity to tune in to a brand new place of being that is not confined by past thoughts and loops that take us down into streams of thought, which we can always, once we get in that belief system of fear or something's gonna happen, it'll bring us down, and it'll chase us down, and it'll be, what that feels like to go in. We have to recognize that that's actually not the authentic frequency. That's not the authentic resting point in which the future, the natural ground of where we are headed as a society, will reveal itself to have always been and to be. It won't be sustainable. These old ways of fearing and thinking will just cause us more and more to feel out of alignment and to panic if we do not trust and we do not discover the gifts of being rested in the 0 point, in the unknown. We have to find a home in the unknown, because every moment is unknown. In truth, we do not know anything. We do not know who we are, what is happening. We're doing our best to come to terms with it, but we cannot actually learn. We cannot actually move forward as a society if we do not have a certain mentality or approach of refreshing ourselves and starting over from experiencing life and witnessing it purely, which can be found in the simple experience of just being, and just being curious, and just meditating, and just receiving and witnessing life as it is. Because from this place, we already realize that we are connected to everything. We snap out of the consciousness of lack that is constantly actually just seeking more and more, because of the lack of presence that we have to receive the endless abundance of the present moment, the fulfillment of the present moment, of the breath. Each breath is abundant. When we are present with that, we receive so much. So the message is prepare yourself for global ... for global infinite potential, for a brand new breath of fresh air. Prepare yourself to remain in the unknown and to become comfortable in the infinite potential that is there in every moment, where there is nothing missing because we are interconnected to it all. We must realize this as the world begins to lose its shit and think that it's, and goes in all its fears of scarcity, and all this is triggered. We must find our inner peace resting in the unknown and in the infinite potential there, without trying to define it. And it will be global. It will be felt throughout the whole world. The whole world is about to shake up. Anyone who tries to define it as something less than neutral, less than a perfect opportunity for going beyond what we have ever known or defined with our limited thinking, will find themselves falling into thought spirals that are actually not aligned with nature. And so we must prepare ourselves to go beyond the attempts to define things in the same fear-based mechanisms that our ancestors have gone through as they went through their own crises in their own times of trying to survive. We must know that in this time of great technology and advancement, the most powerful evolution is spiritually, mentally, emotionally, to release who we thought we were and how we thought we had to perceive this life, and to rest in the infinite possibility of what is coming, that will be as promised with the infinite expansion of the universe, beyond other than anything we could ever define from the past. This is the most exciting and beautiful time to be alive, and there is absolutely nothing to fear. We finally get to realize everything we've been without those fears, without those stories. What happens when we do not let our minds try to make sense of reality and insecurity, but get to open to what we can create, to what comes through us. When we are present, when we are forced to become present to what is, because nothing else works, because everything else is built on faulty ideas of limitation, of separation, of lack, which are not in alignment with the infinite universe that is manifesting itself through us, and which the time has come to release all past identifications with or definitions of, in order to experience the trueness of what it is beyond the mind. Trust. Trust. There is so much beauty, so much love. So much goodness, infinite, to unfold. Let it reveal itself through you. Trust and know that you are this universe, that you are nature, as it shakes everything up to reveal the indestructible, endless, spacious, ever fresh, true potential, true love, true nature that we all are, and gives us a new platform, a ground zero, to realize is in our access, and every single moment is every single moment from which to build the foundations of a new way of relating to and seeing ourselves and the collective. as and from. This is it. It always is restart point. It always is restart time. But now as a collective, there will be no choice for sanity any longer without trusting and finding home and getting used to this intensity, this shifting on which we can never find security with an attachment to a certain way of seeing things or doing things. We must become comfortable with the intensity. We must expect the unexpected. We must trust that it is all here. 2, strip us down to our bare naked self, from which we ride on into eternity, experiencing truth for what it is, and the power and the endlessness of the now, and the abundance of the now. Thank you.